Hi, my name is Imtanis Shukri and the product owner is Dr. Masood Sajjadi, and this is user story EFRT-1485 to create a function that retrieves UTC time, and it ended up becoming to create a UTC time class. And in this class there are 5 functions. There's getTime, which gets the UTC time and returns it in a datetime format, datetime variable, and it's ready to add to our database as is. We have our our calculate offset, which returns a float that represents the offset between the server and UTC time, and this should be used to submit this value to our table, our order table, which has a newly made offset column, time offset column, so that every order may have a offset, an offset that corresponds to it, so you know when that order was made relative to UTC or its server, and you don't have to deal with all the time zones and the different servers. You don't have to keep a list of servers with all their time zones. You don't have to worry about them changing, things like that. Then we have the retrieve offset, which just makes a call to the database and gets that parameter from it. So then you can do with that what you wish. You have the revert time, which just reverts a time relative to the server. So that offset is generated when this method is invoked, and it's useful for people who are just working within the same instance. They don't want to store that time, they don't want to do things like that, as opposed to the next method, which is revert time but with 2 parameters, and you give it the time you want to revert, and then you give it the offset, which can be retrieved from the database itself. So you will give it the order time in UTC form from a certain order, and then you give it the offset that corresponds to that order, and it'll revert it for you to the server time, or vice versa. It doesn't, whatever offset you use, it'll work. So let me show you some of the functions I've got here. You can see here we have the actual class. It's got the datetime, all these functions, and then over here it has the web request where it actually pings Google, because in all of Google, in every single Google search, in the header it has UTC time, and we're able to access that information. So I just had it search for our SCIS FIU page, and I thought that would be appropriate. It makes the actual web request, and then it parses all the data to get the string of UTC time, and you do string to time, and it'll give us the date time. We have the calculate offset, which is simple. It just gets these 2 times, server time, which is time current, and then get time. This is the function we defined above, and it will get the UTC time, and it'll find the offset, the hour offset and the minutes offset, and then it'll take care of all of that. And it accounts for the days as well. And so if it's the date is June 26th or June 25th in a different time in UTC time, it will account for that and make sure everything's okay. The logic was pretty difficult, but in the end, after a lot of testing, I think I've pretty much covered every edge case. Here's the retrieve offset. So you feed this the ticket number that corresponds to that specific order, and it will make a call to this function that I created, getTime offset, and you can see it here. I just created a stored procedure. It over here you can see it has everything that corresponds to it, so we can add it to the database on the onTrade function as well, and it will make that call. You'll see that in a second, then it'll get the offset, and then over here we have reverting time, given time, everything's here. And then here's our testing, and we can see that being tested over here. So currently it'll have the name. In this test, it'll have the name and then what the function's doing. So retrieve offset. The retrieved order offset is 4. And that is corresponding, if you see here, I have this specific order, 7770 at the end. And in our database, we have order 7770. Let me highlight the whole thing. And over here you can see that it corresponds to an offset of 4. And then, so that gives you this. Get time, well actually let me show you here with a postman call. If I already have it actually, if we do 7846, in which here is the one right below it, it should -3, which means UTC is behind by 3 hours. And you get that here, everything works. And so next, get time retrieves the current UTC time. It's almost 5:40 in UTC time. The server time in this server, I believe, and then we're in one of these servers. It is 8:40, so it's 3 hours. So UTC is 3 hours behind the server time. And then over here, you see this is the time to convert that we're getting, right? So let's say an order was made right now, and we stored it in the database. That would store the time 1:39 a.m. And let's say tomorrow during the day we're going to do something with that order. 1:39 a.m., once we revert it, we know that at this time is 3 hours behind. So once you revert it, it's going to be 4:39 a.m. And this function takes care of all dates and like days of the month and things like that. So if this was, let's say, 23:39 at 6:25, over here it would be correct, and it would say 3 hours ahead. It would be 6:26, not 6:25, and then it would be 2 o'clock, I suppose, 2:40. And I do believe that's it. And you can see these are all these offsets over here. They were inputted with the onTrade function, and so you know that functionality works. And yeah, everything seems to be in order. The web request works. We can try it again. I can put in real quick this order instead. If we do that and then compile and then clear it to make it easier to see. Alright, offset is 3 now instead, which corresponds to that order we had. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video. Again, my name is Imtanis Shukri, and the product owner is Dr. Masood Sajadi. Here's our contact info if you have any questions, and thank you again.